From holding the heavyweight championship title for 3 years and having a staggering net worth of $300 million, he was an undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, twice. And now, he is losing a fight to a YouTuber, Jake Paul. We discuss the glorious rise and tragic fall of the greatest boxer of all time, Mike Tyson. His journey from a troubled youth in Brooklyn to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world is as captivating as it is tragic. While his life is often remembered for scandals, prison sentences, and controversies, the true story of Mike Tyson is one of a brilliant fighter, a lost soul, and a man seeking peace. The Rise, a diamond in the rough. Mike Tyson was born on June 30th, 1966, in the Brownsville neighborhood of Brooklyn, New York, a place notorious for poverty, violence, and crime. His father abandoned the family when he was just 2 years old, and his mother struggled to make ends meet. Tyson's early years were marked by a series of unfortunate events. He was frequently bullied, had numerous run-ins with the law, and spent time in juvenile detention centers for petty crimes. At the age of 12, Tyson's life took a pivotal turn. He was sent to a local boxing gym where he met the legendary trainer Cus D'Amato. D'Amato, known for his ability to recognize raw talent, saw something extraordinary in Tyson. Under D'Amato's mentorship, Tyson found his calling. D'Amato became a father figure to him, teaching him not only how to fight but also how to channel his anger and pain into something more productive. Tyson's natural ability in the ring began to shine, but it was his intense focus, discipline, and D'Amato's guidance that turned him into a boxing prodigy. Tyson's physical gifts were unparalleled. His ferocious punching power, incredible speed, and relentless aggression set him apart. By the time he was 18, he was knocking out grown men in the ring. Tyson's rise through the boxing ranks was meteoric. In 1986, at the age of 20, Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champion in history, defeating Trevor Berbick to win the WBC title. He was a phenomenon, and the world took notice. But it wasn't just Tyson's punches that made him famous. It was his persona, an angry, unpredictable young man with an aura of danger. He didn't just fight, he destroyed his opponents. His knockout power was devastating, and his aggression in the ring was unmatched. Tyson quickly unified the heavyweight titles, and by the end of 1987, he was the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. His dominance in the sport was absolute, and he was a global superstar, with millions of fans and untold riches flowing his way. The boxing world was his oyster, and Tyson seemed invincible. The fall, from champion to prisoner. But the higher Tyson climbed, the harder he would eventually fall. Beneath the surface of Tyson's success was a young man unable to handle the pressures of fame, wealth, and responsibility. Tyson's life outside the ring became as chaotic as his life inside it. He was reckless, surrounded by people who took advantage of him, and vulnerable to his own temper and impulsiveness. In 1990, Tyson's reign as champion came crashing down. In a shocking upset, Tyson was knocked out by Buster Douglas, a 42-1 underdog in one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. Tyson had been in poor shape leading up to the fight, distracted by personal issues, and he underestimated his opponent. Douglas's victory shattered Tyson's aura of invincibility, and it marked the beginning of his decline. The world had come to see Tyson as more than just a fighter. He was a symbol of untouchable greatness. But after that loss, Tyson's invincibility was gone, and cracks in his character started to show. Tyson's personal life spiraled out of control. In 1988, he married actress Robin Givens, but the marriage quickly turned toxic. Givens accused Tyson of abuse, and their bitter divorce in 1989 added fuel to the fire. Tyson became increasingly erratic, his violent tendencies spilling over into his personal life. He was a man constantly on the edge, unable to find peace. Then, in 1992, Tyson's life took an even darker turn. He was convicted of rape after a trial that lasted several weeks, and he was sentenced to 6 years in prison. Tyson was 25 years old. The heavyweight champion who once ruled the world now found himself incarcerated. His boxing career was put on hold, and his reputation was tarnished beyond repair. His time in prison did little to improve his mindset. Tyson later admitted he spent much of his time in jail, feeling lost and disconnected, unable to make sense of his own actions. A failed comeback and continued downward spiral. Tyson's release from prison in 1995 marked the beginning of his attempt to reclaim his throne, but the Tyson who returned to the ring was not the same man who had once ruled it. Though he regained some of his power and began fighting again, his mind wasn't in the right place. He was no longer the disciplined, focused fighter he once was. The pressures of the past had taken their toll. In 1996, Tyson won back the WBC heavyweight title by defeating Frank Bruno, but his reign was short-lived. He continued to struggle with his inner demons. In 1997, in a high-profile match against Evander Holyfield, Tyson became infamous for biting off a part of Holyfield's ear during their bout. Tyson was disqualified, and his boxing license was temporarily revoked. The incident sent shockwaves through the sports world, and Tyson's reputation as a boxer and as a person was further damaged. By the early 2000s, Tyson's career was all but over. He continued to fight, but his performances were increasingly inconsistent. He suffered a string of losses, and his once great skills seemed to have eroded. Financially, Tyson was in trouble as well. Despite earning hundreds of millions of dollars throughout his career, he went bankrupt in 2003, largely due to his extravagant spending habits, poor management, and legal troubles. Tyson's life seemed like an unending downward spiral. He had been one of the richest athletes in the world, but by the mid-2000s, he was struggling to make ends meet. His personal life was a mess. He had been married and divorced several times, and he battled addiction to drugs and alcohol. The world knew Tyson as the once great fighter who had been consumed by his own demons. Redemption, a new beginning. In the years following his career, Tyson began to grapple with his past in ways he had never done before. In interviews, documentaries, and even in his own one-man show, Tyson began to reflect on the mistakes that led to his downfall. He admitted his anger, his fear, and the chaos of his life, both in and out of the ring. In the 2010s, Tyson's life began to take a different shape. He found new purpose in business ventures, including a highly successful cannabis company, and he reinvented himself as a more reflective, self-aware individual. He began speaking out about his past, acknowledging his mistakes, and even offering a message of redemption to others. In 2020, Tyson made headlines once again when he announced his return to the ring for an exhibition match against fellow former champion Roy Jones Jr. Although the fight wasn't meant to be a competitive bout, it was a testament to Tyson's enduring love for the sport and his ongoing efforts to regain his sense of purpose. He also accepted a fight with a YouTuber, Jake Paul. Unfortunately, Tyson lost the fight. This decision was undoubtedly frowned upon by the boxing community as a tasteless matchup because Mike was fighting a mere social media influencer, a guy half his age, for a quick cash grab. Critics say this fight was scripted in favor of Jake Paul. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, subscribing to the channel will be authentic.